Hey friends, Mark Holmes here, standing behind my red brick house. Yeah, a 200-year-old property that I actually own that's literally falling to the ground. And most people will pretty much laugh at me because they'll say, "You're an idiot. You think you're going to fix this thing?" Well, I got to tell you, history is something that you can't waste. 200 years old. Yeah, that's older than me. It's part of history. When you think that this house was built when there were only 21 states in the Union, yeah, before trains were around, and guess what? There was no internet or computers. This is history. Over here is a cemetery that Revolutionary War soldiers are buried at. For me, it's my cause to try and save this, because once it's gone, it's never coming back. And I know in some people's mind, it'd probably be better if it were, but that's not me. I like a challenge. Now, I've actually already started working on this thing. The windows that you see up here used to be boarded up, but I actually took the original sashes, what was rotted out, I took out, and I rebuilt those and put them in, and they actually do work again. The front door has actually been remade, and you'll notice that it's really short. I actually made that in my workshop out of wood that I reclaimed from inside of here. Now, I've got some foundation issues and stuff that's underneath of there where there's some rotted out wood. I'm basically going to have to build a new supporting floor underneath of here, but it's not as bad as it seems. We actually had to go through and do some repair work on the foundation here. This brickwork actually came apart because there were no gutters. The water came through and they tried to repair it with normal mortar, and what happens is this literally kicked it out like a bad kidney. Because it's a lime mortar, it's like a putty. It expands and contracts. Well, today's cement is not that way. And when they tried to fix it, it literally aborted it. So the majority of the work itself is actually in pretty good shape. We just got to point it up some more. And it's actually kind of cool. Now, people ask me, what am I going to do with it? Well, the first and foremost thing I wanted to do was save it, because it's history. Good and bad, it's still history. It's zoned commercial, and I didn't want to rebuild it and make it like an office and lose what it originally was. So I'm actually going to make it as my part-time office and part-time place that I stay, and actually use it as kind of a Airbnb. So people who have lived here before, or people who have been tied to the house, can actually stay here as well and remember some of their past history and stuff. So let's take a quick look inside before I go over to the engineer's office and start trying to come up with a plan on how to rebuild this. All right, so for all you guys who haven't seen this before, this is the red brick house. And what you'll notice, I rebuilt this door, but back in the day, people were smaller than they are now. So the doorway is literally 6'1". Now we've got our old staircase and stuff in here, the wood ceiling that's in place, and the antique heart pine. Now this is, of course, the floor that we have to rebuild up underneath of it, but I've got a plan on how to do that. And then our kitchen back here, this part was put on as an addition in the early 1900s. Unfortunately, there's water damage in here, and this main beam is actually rotted out. So we're going to actually have to support the roof line in here, take out this wall, and we're actually going to put a doorway here and put in new members up in there. But the house itself is still pretty kind of cool. So this is all the kitchen. Have a little foyer and clawfoot bathtub that's over there. We have a little back porch back here, you know. This is old cypress siding. Michael actually started going through and stripping some of that out, so we're going to try and save as much of the original as possible. And you'll notice all of the plaster and stuff on the walls. Now this is the original wall to the house. This was all an addition that was put in the early 1900s. And what you'll notice is almost every room, and this is the original flooring, has a fireplace in it. And again, this is a floor up underneath it here that we have to jack up and level out. with new lumber. Let's go upstairs and take a peek here. Michael actually gutted this all out for us, and you'll see, look at that lumber. This was the original school. All of these were hand cut a long time ago, and all of these bricks were handmade. So we're going to put a new roof on top of it. We're basically going to, oh, there's the train going through. We're going to basically reparge all the walls up here because we want to keep that original. And this is what's kind of cool. We found these up under the house. This company went out of business in the 1800s. And you can see our windows that we rebuilt already. Great view of the Walmart over there. Some of our antique heart pine. And what we're going to do up here is we're actually going to put bead board above it so we can insulate it, put the air conditioning and stuff in here, but we're going to leave all of these exposed. And then back here, we're going to make this a full bathroom, and this will be my bedroom, or a guest room and closet. So we've got a lot of work to do, but this will definitely be a labor of love. And Michael, of course, is taking pictures. Now, this is, again, one of those amazing things is when you look at that old fireplace. So can you imagine if you wanted to stay down here for, a weekend? That's your bedroom over there. This is a nice sitting room that's here that you have. Another bedroom downstairs. They got the Apple Festival going on, and you're sitting here in a house that's 200 years old. And I just couldn't allow it to be working on this bad boy again. And I just wanted to kind of show you guys what a house that's almost 200-year-old looks like. We've got this antique heart pine. We've got these old beams that are in here that we're gonna have to shore up. But look at this flooring, hand cut a long, long time ago. We're gonna have to go through and shore this stuff up and get this stuff together. It's going to be a tall task, but you know what? It's one of those things that I enjoy doing, and that's trying to save a little bit of history. But the biggest problem I've got right now is I've got to take care of this beam that's right here that's finally settled by this fireplace between here and there. We have to put an LVL in place up in here, get some new footers put in to tighten that up, because the floor kind of goes downhill right in here, and then we'll end up having to run new beams with it. But I want to keep these original floor joists up here in place because they're original, but we'll put new pieces in between and get it level. So that's what we have to do in here. This is some temporary shoring that we put in just to keep it from falling to the ground. And back through here we had look at that old electric panel here. We had our carpenter go through and do the repair work on the brick. But what we're going to have to do, because there's no floor joists anymore up in here, is we have to actually relieve that piece, and we're going to probably have to cut the flooring open and actually reframe up over there and actually dig out a little bit. But as you can see, there's still some stuff that's just not good anymore. And this is going to be a challenge. It's going to take some time and some money, but it's going to be worth it when it's all said and done. We'll rewire it and see. You can see how this was kind of put in here as an afterthought and doesn't really hold anything. But what we'll do is we'll actually end up putting in joists every other one of these, and we'll end up putting a main beam down here to support the load, and do the same thing here. So basically we'll build 3 new trusses that'll basically carry the load from the ground here all the way through. Yes, one of ours. But guys, take a look at this. This brick right here, this brick was handmade 200 years ago and laid in here. As you can see, my floor joists, they're not too good, but the flooring is all really solid. Yeah. Well, see again, the solution on this, actually there's two ways to do it. We could actually do away with the center beam. We could basically cantilever and put the LVLs all the way down through here, and then putting the floor joists in place, going across. So that way the load is then in here. Because the way the house was built, they had these pockets. These pockets right here. When they built the brickwork, they just laid the logs into the pockets, and the floor itself is separate from the walls. And the thing you have to make sure that you do, if you've ever working on an old house, you can't use modern mortar. You actually have to make a lime mortar because it ends up expanding and contracting. And if you end up using new mortar, it can't expand and contract, it just basically busts itself out. So this is the project that I have to do down here. And I've got to get an engineer basically to draw up the layup here. So we're going to take some pictures and go talk to an engineer. Yeah, well I think the best way is actually, now that I think about it, is you end up putting a new beam right through here to carry load. This part will be cantilevered over. We can jack it up into place, get it all nice and level and strong again, and do the same thing on the other side. So that way the weight is actually down on the bottom. So, but I want to keep the original stuff in here because, well, 20 years old. Let's take a look at the inside of it. So yeah, it's not pretty, but it's mine. Well, that's a look at the project that I have here. It's not something I'm going to be making a whole bunch of money on, I can tell you that this will truly be a labor of love. But it's just something about history, good or bad, that you got to make sure you keep close to you. Most people will look at this and say, man, you are a freaking idiot, man. Why the hell would you waste your time, money and energy for something that looks like that? And I just got to say, I just can't let something like this go. I can look at this right now and I can vision, you know, a nice chair sitting over here, you know, having like an insert, you know, or a wood stove here at the fireplace and things, snow on the ground, looking out the windows and things, you know, a nice bedroom that's over in there, and just being part of history, you know? It's 200 years old. 200 years old. Think about that. And it's my goal to try and make it live for another 200 and be a link in the chain of this house. I own it, but do we really own anything? Because once we die, you go away with what you came with. And that's nothing. It's what you leave behind. That's really your legacy. I'm Mark Holmes. I can't wait to get back to work.
Hey friends, Cowboy Jobu here at the Jobu Report. The Dallas Cowboy fans are elated. The Redskin fans, not so much. How about them Cowboys? Wait a minute.
Sorry, they have the most comfortable hats.
What the fuck? Talk about your confused fans. But who cares? The Dallas Cowboys beat the Washington Redskins for the 3rd time in a row at FedEx. Gotta love it.